If you're carrying a heavy heart, you are not alone. Some hurts arrive loudly, through betrayal or harsh words that break trust in an instant. Others arrive quietly, in the form of silence, distance, or disappointment that lingers in the corners of daily life. We learn to live with these wounds, but living with them is not the same as healing. Today, I want to speak to that invisible weight. I want to share something you can use. Not a theory or definition you already know, but a path you can feel, a way back to love, healing in the middle of your everyday life. Take a slow breath with me. Inhale, hold, exhale. Let yourself settle here. Let yourself be present. Many stories of pain in love do not begin with grand betrayals. They begin at the breakfast table, after a small argument that left the air heavy. Two people sit side by side, polite but distant. One stirs coffee with more force than needed. The other scrolls on their phone, avoiding the gaze they once longed for. It is not really about the bills, or the undone chores, or the forgotten words. It is about the wound beneath the surface. In moments like these, two sentences can open a window. The first is simple but humbling. I'm sorry for how I spoke. The second is even braver. I want us to feel close again. These words do not erase what happened, but they loosen the tightness. They remind both hearts that love, healing are still possible. There are other stories too, the ones marked by silence between siblings, cousins, or friends. The silence lasts not because the hurt is too big, but because pride is bigger than the desire to reconnect. Weeks become months, and the longer it goes, the heavier it feels to break the quiet. Yet sometimes the only step needed is 6 words. I miss you. Can we talk? You don't need the perfect timing, the perfect phrasing, or even the guarantee of a reply. What matters is showing that the door is not locked. Reaching out is an act of courage, but it is also an act of healing. Even if the reply never comes, you have chosen connection over resentment. And that choice itself is love, healing at work within you. Forgiveness also happens in ways that are quieter than words. Imagine sitting down at a table with someone you have not spoken to warmly in years. No conversation about the past, no speeches, just peeling fruit and placing a piece near their hand. That simple act carries what language cannot. The room softens, the silence shifts, something tender begins to return. Forgiveness is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is as subtle as sharing food, laughing at a small joke, or choosing not to bring up the old argument one more time. These gestures are not denial. They are living proof that love, healing can re-enter through the smallest of doors. But forgiveness is not only about the other person. Often the heaviest door is the one inside our own chest. The door labeled, "I should have known better. I should have done more." Behind that door, shame and regret wait, whispering that we are unworthy of love. There is a way through that door, and it begins with a simple ritual. Write down the moment that still hurts you. Write down the cost, the nights of lost sleep, the joy that faded, the laughter that disappeared. Then write what you learned, the strength you discovered, the resilience you didn't know you had. Finally, write a blessing forward. I will honor this by living with care. I forgive myself for being human. I choose love, healing over punishment. Read those words out loud, even if no one else hears them. Then fold the paper and place it somewhere safe, or release it in fire, or bury it under soil. What matters is not the method, but the shift inside you. The difference between carrying a stone and finally setting it down. Forgiveness doesn't make us smaller. Forgiveness makes us lighter. There are people who believe that to forgive is to lose power. But in truth, forgiveness restores power, the power of peace, the power of freedom. I remember the story of two friends who stopped speaking over money. The debt was never repaid, and the silence stretched for years. Every time one saw the other's name, a knot formed in the stomach. Until one day, one of them decided the friendship was worth more than the number. They sent a message that simply said, "I release this. Our friendship matters more." And in that choice, the debt lost its power. What returned was not money, but peace. And peace is wealth you carry everywhere. Sometimes people confuse forgiveness with reconciliation. They are not the same. Forgiveness is what frees your heart. Reconciliation is what happens when trust can be rebuilt safely. It is possible to forgive and still choose distance, to say, "I wish you well, and I am stepping away." That too is compassion. Forgiveness does not mean walking back into harm. Forgiveness means stepping out of the prison of replay. And in the everyday life we live, forgiveness shows itself in practices, small, human, repeatable practices. The pause before speaking when anger rises. The choice to lead with feeling instead of accusation. The meal shared slowly with phones put away. The letter written and not sent. The silent 2-minute handhold. The single line of gratitude each night. The breath taken before replying to a message that stings. These are not grand gestures. They are daily practices of love, healing. They keep the soil soft so that peace can grow again. They remind us that repairing love happens not in miles, but in inches, in the steady rhythm of small acts that build trust again. And when it comes to apologies, the ones that truly heal are not complicated. They are specific, humble, and forward-looking. They sound like this: "I did this. I see how it hurt you. I imagine it felt like this. I want to do it differently. What can I do right now to begin repair?" And the way we receive apologies matters just as much. We can respond with honesty without shutting the door. "I hear you. Thank you for saying that. I am still tender." What would help is this: let's choose one small thing this week to feel close again. This is not about perfection. It is about choosing softness over sharpness, presence over absence. You may be wondering how to begin when the regret feels too large. Perhaps you carry the memory of walking away when you should have stayed, of saying words you can't take back, of missing the final chance to show up for someone you loved. These memories can sit in the body like stones, weighing you down every day. But here is the truth. Regret is not the end of your story. Regret is the signal that your heart still cares, and that caring is the doorway to love, healing. If you feel regret, it means your capacity for love is alive. And if love is alive, then healing is possible. So what can you do when the guilt feels unbearable? Begin with presence. Sit quietly. Place a hand over your heart. Whisper, "I will not abandon you." Then ask yourself one gentle question. What is one act of care I can do in the next hour? Maybe it is washing the dishes slowly. Maybe it is sending a kind message. Maybe it is stepping outside to feel the air on your face. Each small act of care is a stitch in the fabric of forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself is not about erasing the past. It is about choosing a future that is lighter. It is about allowing love, healing to grow in soil that was once covered in shame. And how will you know when forgiveness is taking root? You will notice that you no longer rehearse the worst moments again and again. You will still remember them, but they will no longer control the rhythm of your thoughts. You will notice that when you think of the person who hurt you, or the moment you hurt yourself, Your stomach no longer knots in the same way. There is a calm. The storm has passed through, and the field is clean. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is remembering without reliving. I want to share with you a simple physical ritual that can help when words feel empty. Find 3 small stones. Hold the first one and name your anger. Speak it aloud. This is my outrage. Place it down. Hold the second stone and name your grief. Speak it aloud. This is my sorrow. Place it down. Hold the third stone and name your choice. Speak it aloud. This is my decision to release. Place it down last. And when you are ready to walk away, carry only the third stone with you. Carry choice, not chains. This is how love, healing becomes more than an idea. It becomes a lived act. Many people ask, does forgiving mean I have to let them back into my life? The answer is no. Forgiveness is yours to give. Reconciliation is optional. You can forgive in your heart and still choose boundaries. You can wish someone well and still choose distance. This is still compassion. Because forgiveness is not about denying what happened. It is about refusing to let what happened define your heart forever. Think of it like cleaning a wound. You do not pretend the wound never existed. You clean it so it does not stay infected. Forgiveness is that cleansing. It is the act that prevents bitterness from spreading into every corner of your life. Without forgiveness, anger multiplies. With forgiveness, healing begins. And forgiveness does not only heal relationships with others, it heals your relationship with yourself. Because every time you choose forgiveness, you remind yourself, I am worthy of peace. I am worthy of softness. I am worthy of love, healing. When 2 people come back together after conflict, the repair does not happen all at once. It happens in inches. One person chooses to listen longer. The other chooses to speak more gently. They share a meal without sharpness. They laugh at something small. Each of these inches is forgiveness in action. Each of these inches is a seed of healing planted in the soil of love. Let me offer you a practical image. Imagine that every hurt in a relationship is like a small tear in fabric. If left alone, the tear grows. But each act of forgiveness is a stitch. Not always neat, not always perfect, but a stitch. Over time, those stitches hold the fabric together. The scars of the tear remain, but the fabric is stronger for having been repaired. This is the beauty of forgiveness. It does not erase the tear, but it gives love, healing the chance to hold everything together again. You may think your stitches are too small to matter. You may believe the fabric is too torn to repair. But remember, we repair in inches, not miles. Each gentle act, each apology, each softened word, each pause before anger. These are stitches. And over time, those stitches become a tapestry of resilience, proof that love can survive storms. Forgiveness is also a gift we pass forward. When children see parents forgiving each other, they learn what it means to love. When friends see someone choose reconciliation instead of revenge, they carry that lesson into their own lives. Forgiveness creates a ripple effect. It plants seeds of healing not only in your life, but in the lives of everyone who witnesses it. This is why forgiveness is not private alone. It is a contribution to the collective fabric of love, healing in our communities. And yet, let us be honest. Forgiveness can feel impossible. Some hurts are deep. Some betrayals change the shape of our lives. To forgive here is not to minimize. It is not to rush. It is to decide that even in the presence of pain, you will not hand your life over to bitterness. It may take months, it may take years, but every small step toward forgiveness is a step toward freedom. Freedom is what forgiveness brings. Freedom to laugh without bitterness in your throat. Freedom to wake without heaviness in your chest. Freedom to see someone's name and feel peace instead of rage. This freedom is the heart of love, healing. It is what makes forgiveness worth the effort, worth the patience, worth the courage. So if you are still holding on to something heavy, ask yourself, what is the cost of carrying it? What joy has been delayed? What laughter has been postponed? What peace has been stolen? And is it worth holding on to? Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means choosing to live free again. It means taking your life back from the shadow of what happened. You are allowed to forgive. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to love again, including yourself. You may be asking yourself, where do I even start? Start small. Start with what is right in front of you. Forgiveness is not a mountain you climb in one day. It is a path you walk, step by step, with pauses to catch your breath. Start with the pause. When your chest tightens and anger rises, stop. Breathe. Feel your feet on the floor. Loosen your jaw. Let silence hold the moment instead of words you will regret. That pause is forgiveness beginning to take root. Start with a bridge sentence. Instead of saying, "You never listen," try saying, "I felt unseen last night and I want us to be closer." The first sentence builds walls. The second builds a bridge. And bridges are how love, healing travel between hearts. Start with the table reset. Choose one meal this week where you sit together with no phones, no distractions, no armor. Light a candle. Look at each other. Eat slowly. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It simply needs to be present. In these small meals, healing becomes a habit. Forgiveness grows through repetition. It is not one grand choice, but many small choices, repeated in the quiet of daily life. That is what makes it strong. And when the wound is with yourself, begin with gentleness. Look in the mirror. Place your hand over your chest. Whisper, "I forgive you for being human. I choose love, healing over punishment." You may not believe it the first time, but say it again and again. Let the words carve new space in your heart. Over time, they will become truth. Apologies, too, must be practiced, not the hollow kind that says, "I'm sorry you feel that way," but the kind that takes ownership. "I did this specific thing. I see how it hurt you. I can imagine it felt like this. I want to do better. What can I do now?" And when you receive an apology, receive it with honesty. Say, "I hear you. Thank you for saying that. I am still healing. What would help me is this." Forgiveness is not a switch, it is a process. Naming where you are in that process honors both you and the other person. Perhaps you're still wondering, why should I forgive? They don't deserve it. And maybe they don't. But forgiveness is not about what they deserve. Forgiveness is about what you deserve. You deserve peace. You deserve to sleep without replaying the scene. You deserve mornings without bitterness, afternoons without resentment, evenings without regret. Forgiveness gives that back to you. Think about how heavy it feels to carry anger. Notice how it sits in your shoulders, your stomach, your mind. Every time you remember, your body tightens. Forgiveness is the act of putting down that weight. You may still carry the memory, but you are no longer chained to the pain. And forgiveness is not a one-time act. Some days you will feel free. Other days the memory will rise again. That does not mean you failed. It means forgiveness is alive, still unfolding. Each time the memory returns, choose release again. Choose love, healing again. Over time, the memory will soften, the hold will loosen, the wound will become a scar, and the scar will remind you not of pain, but of survival. I want you to imagine a garden. In the soil are seeds of anger, bitterness, and resentment. If left alone, they grow weeds that choke joy. But if you water forgiveness, even one drop at a time, new seeds grow. Seeds of peace, seeds of connection, seeds of compassion. And slowly, the garden changes. Love, healing bloom where bitterness once spread. So ask yourself now, what is one weed I can pull today? What is one seed I can water? It may be a kind word, a gentle reply, a simple message, a quiet breath. These are not small things. These are the building blocks of freedom. There will always be voices that say forgiveness is weakness. But remember this, it takes no strength to hold a grudge. Anyone can do that. It takes strength to soften. It takes courage to say, I choose peace over punishment. I choose to live free. That is not weakness. That is the deepest strength of all. And sometimes, forgiveness is the most radical gift you can give to yourself. You do not forgive because what happened was okay. You forgive because you are no longer willing to let what happened steal your joy. You forgive because you deserve love, healing more than you deserve bitterness. So what will your next step be? Will you send the message? Will you soften your words? Will you sit down and write the letter you never send? Will you hold the hand of someone you love in silence? Will you whisper kindness to yourself? These small steps may not feel like much, but taken together, they create a life where love, healing are no longer blocked by anger. They create a life where peace is possible, even after pain. If you have carried a heavy burden for years, let this be your moment to lay it down. If you have punished yourself for mistakes long past, let this be your moment to forgive. If you have closed the door on love, let this be your moment to open it again. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to love again. You are allowed to forgive, including yourself. Take one more deep breath with me. Inhale, hold, exhale. Let the heaviness leave your body. Let the lightness enter. Let this be the beginning of your next chapter. Because the healing power of forgiveness in love is not a concept, not a definition, not a theory. It is a practice, it is a choice, and it is available to you, right here, right now. Whisper it with me. I choose love, healing. I choose to live light.